If you haven't seen the previous video in this series, follow the link on your screen or click the link in the description or pinned comment below.
Only 10 seconds of logos instead of the usual self-gratification. Someone over there must be watching CinemaSins.
You gave them a sin for doing what you've been begging them to do? I said a long time ago that CinemaSins doesn't remove sins for short studio logos and only did it a couple of times to appease gullible morons that fall for the okie doke on the regular.
Heard anything from Betty, from my daughter?
Movies do this all the time. They want us to start getting used to the idea that Ford is now playing the same character William Hurt played, starting all the way back in The Incredible Hulk. But this staffer lady, she 100% knows he has a daughter named Betty and does not need the clarification.
I agree with you that the conversation is unnatural, but you have to understand just how oblivious the general audience is. When things aren't spoon-fed to them, you get takes like these. Filmmakers understand this psychology and therefore cater to the lowest common denominator sometimes. Sure, it bothers snobs like you and I, but it's really a non-issue to the mainstream audience, and that's where they make the majority of their money.
Chekhov's pills!
This is CinemaSins pointing out they know the ending of the story already and will still somehow pretend they don't know certain things to bullshit their way into a sin. What's funny about this is, why is Chekhov's gun even a sin? You noticed a literary technique and sinned it because...
Why did their campaign slogan put a period after the word together? Together is not a sentence.
It literally can be a sentence. For example, if I asked, what will this judge's butt cheeks no longer be in prison? The correct answer is together.
It's money away. It's on the house.
We see Sam see the news about Ross and then get these free drinks. That's the whole scene in this bar. Oh, Marvel Studios, you spoil me.
It's not the whole scene. The rest of the scene is the movie reminding people that The Incredible Hulk was the second movie in the MCU, and believe me, that shit is absolutely necessary. The amount of morons that still think this Hulk could beat Thanos in a fight are under the impression that these are two different characters.
Holy shit, this is so weird. They are using footage from The Incredible Hulk where William Hurt is Ross and Ed Norton is Bruce Banner in a movie where Mark Ruffalo is the Hulk in this universe and Harrison Ford is playing Ross. But Betty Ross, that is the one role we have left alone and kept as Liv Tyler.
Are you stupid or what? The footage doesn't show Ed Norton or William Hurt. Besides, Liv Tyler isn't problematic or dead, so she's back. And if you watched She-Hulk, you'd know that Tim Roth is still in the MCU too.
Why are all the gunmen aiming directly at his shield?
Well, considering his suit is entirely vibranium, as stated in this movie, it wouldn't much matter if they didn't, and maybe they know that information and are going for headshots. And even if they don't know that, this is an Avenger. They have to assume he's armored in some fashion.
I have trouble adapting to this new Captain America, only because I never really liked Captain America all that much in the first place, at least not as movies. The first one is fine, the second one is the most overrated MCU movie to date solely because they somehow convinced the masses that casting an older A-list actor and having a couple double crosses equals a classic 70s spy film homage. The third one is Avengers 3 Under the Cap banner and is the least stakes MCU film in the entire run because everyone pulls their punches and no one wants to hurt anyone and they even talk about how they are pulling their punches and it makes me so mad.
Amazing. Every word of what you just said was wrong. First of all, we don't care whether or not you like those films. You are here to tell us everything wrong with this one. Secondly, if you never liked those films, why would you even have trouble adapting to this new one? That literally makes no sense. Third, barely anyone likes Winter Soldier because of it being a spy thriller solely. People liked it because of the return of Bucky as the Winter Soldier and incredible action sequences and a cool plot. Fourth, what does Civil War being Avengers Light have to do with literally any point you're trying to make? Fifth, saying the literal film that led to Iron Man and Black Widow's death is the least stakes MCU film is so dumb, I can't think of a word to describe it. What part of "that's why Thanos won" aren't you getting? It's probably the part where you claimed Batman v Superman would outgross it at the box office, and when that didn't happen, you got salty at people in your comment section about it. You thought we forgot, huh? No, we didn't forget.
That's Sidewinder. He's the head of Serpent. He's not supposed to be here.
Listen, New Falcon, they're called reshoots and are very common in the industry.
Jeremy yells at the screen cliche.
Get the package out of here.
Random package needs to be kept at 815 degrees Celsius or 1499 American degrees. Why does it need to be as hot as McDonald's coffee in the 90s?
Remember when I pointed out that Jeremy has knowledge of the rest of this film when they pointed out Chekhov's pills? Here he is pretending to not know there is adamantium in this capsule. And according to the official handbook of the Marvel Universe Volume 2, adamantium can only be molded when its temperature is 1500 degrees Fahrenheit or 815 degrees Celsius. And Birdman haters get mad when I pull up the comics.
The movie isn't doing Anthony Mackie's new take on Cap any favors with these bland-ass, dimly lit action sequences.
Dimly lit? Maybe. Bland?
I'm kind of busy right now.
I don't know, man. Sam kinda does shit that's much cooler than Steve, especially considering he's just a man.
Also, if the wingsuits that Cap and Falcon use are the fastest way to get around, why hasn't the military invested more in developing them? Is it like a Sith thing? Is there a rule of two?
The X-07 Falcon was a prototype created by the Air Force and has only successfully been used by 2 people prior to this, Sam and his partner Ronald, who died during a mission. The suits were too expensive to develop and difficult to use. In Winter Soldier, Sam steals this prototype to help Steve fight the Winter Soldier, who later destroys that prototype. The versions you see Sam wearing in subsequent films are upgraded versions of these prototypes created by Tony Stark once Sam became an Avenger. The one Sam currently uses was developed by Wakanda, the world's most technologically advanced nation. What I'm saying is, the US military is incapable of producing the results of Tony Stark and Wakanda.
She doesn't believe I've changed.
I don't either, unless you are specifically talking about your physical appearance.
This treaty's gotta work.
Ooh, a treaty, you say? Those always make superhero movies better.
You'll notice, I did not die.
That's exactly what a dead man would say.
In a fight, the last hit
It's the only hit that matters.
But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
The last 4 sins are CinemaSins just saying shit and dinging the ding. Neither of those were something wrong with the movie, which is what everything wrong with means.
Remember, Ross threw me in the raft.
Actually, I did not remember that because you weren't a very important character in whichever movie that was.
Civil War, the literal film you keep claiming had no stakes and wouldn't outgross Batman v Superman. You wrote an entire poem about it. Saying he wasn't an important character in that film when he's kinda the reason Rhodey is paralyzed is pretty funny.
You've got no business working for the government.
I mean, it's his job though, right? Character who was probably on that Falcon show but is entirely brand new to me.
It's his job? That's what a Nazi would say.
Standing next to the president, even if it's Ross, it gives people hope.
This fucking laugh.
It would mean a lot to me if you were there.
Does Marvel think this movie alone is doing enough to justify these two characters' interactions for people who didn't watch the show? Or do they seriously think everyone watches all the shows? I'm not sure which is worse.
Considering Isaiah Bradley is a major character in this film, and this film shows us much more of him being a super soldier than the show ever did, this criticism falls on deaf ears. Look, I know it's somewhat mainstream on the internet to suggest that you have to watch the shows to understand these movies now, but that take is still demonstrably incorrect. Yes, they introduce Bradley in that show, but his actions in that show are simply not required to understand what occurs with the character in this movie. This film establishes that he's a super soldier, the first black Captain America, and that he has a relationship with Sam. That's literally all you need to know for this film to work. These films go out of their way to explain relevant information for the plot of the film, which is why it's increasingly annoying when you people call these shows homework.
How the hell did he just do that?
Cap's gear was a gift from the Wakandans for helping them out. I heard even the wrapping paper was made of vibranium.
So what are we doing here? Orthopedics, how to relearn how to walk after you break a hip? Oh,
That's Isaiah Bradley.
The Isaiah Bradley.
a pleasure to meet you. Your missions in Korea are legendary. I mean, a lot's changed in the world. We could have used another super soldier.
The United States government threw me in prison for 30 years. They experimented on me for decades. Hey, Faith and I got married in this.
You were both wearing the suit when you got married?
I want you, Captain America, to help me rebuild the Avengers.
You want a non-superpowered regular human who just wears a high-tech suit with a bunch of gadgets to be the leader of the Avengers? Get out of here!
What even was the point of this? He debunked himself by fading in footage of Tony Stark and still gives the film a sin. This shit doesn't make any sense.
What was found inside that island is nothing short of the discovery of the millennium.
Discovery of the millennium? Is my homie forgetting about fire? Or the wheel? Or a little thing called mini Ritz sandwiches?
What kind of heathen likes mini Ritz sandwiches? Nutter Butters are superior. Also, fire and the wheel weren't discovered this millennium, numbnuts. Do you not know a millennium is 1,000 years? Controlled use of fire was discovered by Homo erectus over 1 million years ago, and the wheel was discovered by Mesopotamians 5,000 years ago. Also, this millennium began in 2001, meaning any discovery they're talking about was made in the last 26 years. Also, you misspelled millennium.
Expecting me to buy that this salver has the same projectile physics as Cap's shield.
Besides the fact that it doesn't need them, once you train yourself to be able to throw semi-flat things like a frisbee, do I even need to finish this sentence?
Isaiah sacrificed everything for this country.
Great sacrifice, even noble sacrifice, does not mean a person can't then later do evil shit.
If you let the rest of the dialogue play, Sam is suggesting Bradley didn't have a motive, not that it's impossible for him to do something bad. Jesus, what are you, 6?
So let's work together.
I'm afraid that offer expired when your friend tried to kill me.
It's like the movie is abandoning storylines in real time.
You're just saying things again. It would be helpful if you explained what your problem with this piece of dialogue was instead of making vague jokes that no one laughed at. This video is long enough as it is.
You're not Steve Rogers.
You're not Thaddeus Ross.
What the f*** even is this video?
I'm thinking a hopeful Captain America movie might be one where a black man is prevented from being wrongfully imprisoned in the first place.
Or that can be a subtext that the movie is trying to explore. That's really the problem with some of you white folks. Y'all like to pretend shit like this isn't happening and would rather be spared from seeing it. This is sadly a reality in this country and continues to happen as black men are the most exonerated group in the United States. I say let's face that reality, raise awareness, and do something about that problem.
I think I committed treason and espionage, but I made it into the White House's CCTV system.
Joaquin is able to do this because the story needs him to. And it is weird that the story never has him approach whoever is in charge of the U.S. government's cybersecurity and tell them how bad a job they are doing.
Why would he ever do that? No, seriously, think about what you just said. What if he needs to do this again in the future? Doing what you suggested would make his own job harder. And why does this mean the U.S. cybersecurity is doing a bad job? What if he's just gifted at this very task and would crack their security no matter how good it was? And what do you mean he's only able to do this because the movie needs him to? That's literally all characters in all movies. Stop just saying shit.
When Isaiah went off in the White House, made me think of a friend of mine.
No shit. Now that I think of it, that whole thing with Bucky was quite public. I'm not sure why the governments of the world haven't put in place protocols for investigating and dealing with possible mind control situations.
What are you asking for? It's mind control. Investigating is the protocol. Seriously, what are you asking for?
His phone is like flashing at him. Got the same thing happening to one of the other shooters.
How do you get 5 brainwashed soldiers to all look at their phones at the same exact time? I guess you could call them all, but what if they have the ringer on silent? They are at an official White House event after all.
That's their secret, Cap. People are always looking at their phones. Also, this film does not say they're all looking at their phones at the same time. Literally in the footage you're showing, Bradley is in the scene not looking at his phone.
Slowly scrolling through video footage like you write for CinemaSins.
So, something that's not happening? Because if that were true, you'd have seen Isaiah in the previous scene.
The world turned upside down. Cliche.
Jeremy sings in a video. Cliche.
Between Giancarlo Esposito now and Harrison Ford later, I'm going to spend a lot of time watching Captain America struggle to beat up old men.
Jeremy has never heard of old man strength. Also, one of the old men he's talking about is, wait for it, the fucking Hulk.
Isaiah Bradley's in holding cell 14. The other shooters are in 15.
Okay.
Do you need an escort?
You are leaving the decision of whether or not she gets escorted to visit prisoners accused of trying to assassinate the president up to her?
Are they not imprisoned? What are they going to do? This?
I wanted my life back, but it's too late for that now.
I've seen HBO's Watchmen series, Oh Brother Where Art Thou, and The Ballad of Buster Scruggs too many damn times to not recognize Tim Blake Nelson's voice. And he was in that 2008 Incredible Hulk movie, and he helped create The Abomination, and man, this is a direct sequel to that movie. I'm surely not the first person to point this out, but I am probably the first person to give the movie 10 sins for it.
What did you even point out? You just said this actor was in other movies and padded the sin count, bro.
They brought the shield and nothing else? No wingsuits? No Wakandan energy converting suit?
Considering this mission is quite literally clandestine, why would you expect him to bring wingsuits to infiltrate a military installation? Have you never played Metal Gear Solid?
We've got cameras and guards.
Thanks for the update, Captain Obvious. It's a f***ing off-grid military site. You don't need to observe it to know it has cameras and guards, and goddamn, this thing had f***ing 5 writers. That explains so much.
That was almost word for word what I want to say about CinemaSins in the previous sin.
We got a 28-second window to get past the guards.
And then it takes about 28 seconds for them to fully get by and hidden from the guards. But I'm not going to remove a sin just because a movie finally got the real-time count right after showing a countdown timer. I don't remove sins for basic competence.
I wouldn't say that was basic competence, but a neat detail, which by a competent YouTuber would trigger a sin removal.
If I'd stolen the sample, why would I order Captain America to retrieve it?
As an alibi? This is like Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct saying, why would I write a book about a murder and then do the exact same murder in real life?
Why would you need an alibi for a mission nobody knew took place until Captain America got involved? This is the MCU. Anything could have stolen that adamantium, including cats with tentacles in their mouths.
Mind control.
Almost an hour into the movie before confirming what everyone in the audience already knew.
Jeremy, nobody believes you knew this. Maybe the audience, but you? Here, Jeremy, laugh at yourself.
Maybe you're not as smart as you think you are.
My daily mantra somehow makes its way into the script.
So we are getting through to him. Also, sitting you is my job.
My mind sees it all, every probable outcome.
This and the after credits scene kind of implied that Stearns foresaw the possibility of Thanos coming to Earth and was cool enough with that to not tell anyone.
You just confused 2 entirely different words. The leader says he can see probabilities, not possibilities. Probability is the statistical likelihood of something happening, and possibility is about what can happen. Given the public did not know about Thanos until his arrival in Wakanda, there was literally no way for Stearns to factor in Thanos arriving on Earth. The end credits scene implies Stearns is referring to parallel universes, something that even scientists in our reality believe is probable.
You sure you can knock out Stern's mind control?
Yep, I'm going to use this here bunker computer to stop mind control.
I love the expression of incredulity here. I mean, we're talking about mind control, and you've already accepted that premise, but the ability to block that same mind control is where you draw the line, eh?
Do you have anybody that you trust that can take a look at these and tell me what's in them?
I see we're going to ignore that paper Sam saw in Ross's file, which essentially said that the pills were thorium.
Maybe Sam was asleep in chemistry class and doesn't know what thorium is, and hence asked the expert. The real sin is that thorium is so named in this universe. I mean, thorium? As in the element named after the Norse god Thor? You don't see the problem?
When I break out, Captain, you won't walk away alive.
I don't often ask for an origin story, but a bit of context to help me understand this impressive murder boner would be nice.
Did you or did you not just see a fight between these two like 25 minutes ago? That's the backstory, numbnuts. He was hired to assassinate Captain America, got his ass kicked, and vowed revenge. Jesus.
They just moved into the Indian Ocean.
Suit up. We need to move.
Then, in less than a minute of runtime, Cap, Falcon, and Sabra are just there in the Indian Ocean. They had to fly something like 9.5 million smoots. That is like a 19-hour flight that is just entirely ignored. I don't need to see the whole thing, but at least acknowledge that space-time exists.
Did you seriously ask for a scene of them sitting on a plane just to reach the same part of the movie they did with the cutaway? Did you seriously let him escape 10 sins when he said boner?
Right? Even I was shocked. I'm like, what the hell? Does Birdman need to be final flashed? I'm not violent. I try not to be.
In my defense, he did say murder burner, so I could have hit him with a, wait, what was that?
So why didn't you? Sounds to me like you...
Who said you can join the festivities? Gallic? Ah!
As I'm Mr. Blue plays again, and one of the 2 pilots changes course suddenly, I have to stop here and ask about this mind control shit. First, it was flashing lights at the White House, but also the song apparently played. The flashing lights, well, it's dumb as all, but at least I can buy it on a science fiction level. But for it to work, the flashing lights would not only have to hypnotize the targets, but it would also have to give them instructions, which seems unlikely to be possible. Now, for the song to trigger people to do your will, you have to have preloaded this bit of manipulation. It has to be programmed. And we know Stearns was in prison, so how did he contact this pilot and program him for mind control? How did he even know which pilots or which carrier groups would be used in this military action? The movie just wants to play the song, and suddenly it's all, surprise, motherfuckers, this person is now doing evil shit. But I am insulted by that. You might as well have said he visited them in their dreams. It's just as possible.
That was a lot, so I'll keep it short. The movie has already explained Stearns knows all probable outcomes of these events, meaning he'd know which pilots would likely be chosen for this mission. And if he could mind control one person, he could use that person to brainwash others. This is not difficult to understand.
But he has your data, sir. Why?
I don't know. If he can control minds,
Surely he can hack files.
For f***ing real, President Shithead is right and would be excellent at CinemaSins. Cap, on the other hand, is not a very good detective.
If by excellent at CinemaSins you mean completely disingenuous and evading the actual question, then yeah, I'd agree. The ability to hack files is not an answer to why he has those files in the first place.
Because I was dying, goddammit!
I suppose it might happen now and then in real life, but the movies like to think you can get important information out of someone who doesn't want to share it simply by shouting the question at them repeatedly. And honestly, it's not how it works. For instance, I shouted "whose f***ing condom is that" 6 or 7 straight times to my college girlfriend, but instead of getting skip,
I know what it's like to feel you have something to prove.
Dude, he's talking about wanting his daughter to love him again, and you are talking about replacing f***ing Captain America.
And let me stop you right there. Both of those are things they needed to prove. Ross needed to prove to his estranged daughter that he's changed as a person, and Sam needed to prove he was worthy of the shield. What Sam is doing is called empathy, and it's part of his characterization from his first appearance in Winter Soldier, where he was introduced as a counselor for veterans. Empathizing with someone is one of the main ways to win them over in an argument or conflict.
You have 2 ready to fly now, sir.
I was hoping they would show me every step they take, get into the deck of this boat, and the movie did not disappoint.
Literally the same guy that argued this movie needed an extra scene on a plane to explain space-time.
Mr. President, do not send more fighters up. We need Japan to see we're trying to de-escalate.
Am I the only one that finds it uncomfortable that the movie chose Japan as the enemy for this war in Southeast Asia?
It would be helpful if you explained why instead of being vague. Are you suggesting that it should have been any other country? Why wouldn't that be uncomfortable as well? Are we doing the Western white guy thing where Japan good, every other country bad? That's racist.
Well, that was just cool, and I'm not immune to cool shit.
Sam, once we're done, you gotta teach me your move!
Turning 90 degrees and having wings strong enough to cut through an airplane should be self-explanatory.
Yes, but doing it in a split second while a faster-than-sound airplane is flying directly towards you is something that probably takes a bit of skill.
Having a device that a character can shoot to automatically eject a person from an airplane is something you need to establish earlier in the movie. It would still be subject to scrutiny as Chekhov's device that a character can shoot to automatically eject a person from an airplane, but at least I wouldn't be sitting here asking, what the f*** was that?
I honestly don't know how you guys get away with just lying about movies. This is a blatant misrepresentation of this scene. Falcon is firing projectiles that cause small explosions, as can be seen here. Prior to firing one at the cockpit of this jet, you can hear the plane's computer saying it's trying to auto-eject as the aircraft is damaged from Sam's attack. So an intelligent person would see all of that and come to the conclusion that the device Falcon fires blasts open the canopy so that the plane could auto-eject as it says on the damn screen. But alas, you are not an intelligent person.
All the ugliness. It's still there, Ross.
Did the mind control technology savant who can control minds from prison really need to kill that admiral so he could use his cell phone to call Ross?
Do you have a better way to get in direct contact with the President of the United States? Because if you do, please share. I'd love to troll the bag of Cheeto Puffs in the Oval Office. The prison time would be so worth it.
How do you throw the shield to hit an incoming missile, then ricochet to hit a separate incoming missile? I swear the more these Cap films persist, the more abilities this f***ing shield gains. I don't even think it needs a human to wield it anymore.
First of all, this is science fiction. Anything can happen. However, if you need a more practical explanation other than this is how it works in the comics, professional billiard players do things like this in their sleep. It's called angles, aiming, and practice.
Altitude, altitude, altitude. Altitude, altitude.
God damn, Cap's even got Spider-Man powers now? So he's got Cap's shield, Black Panther's energy transferring suit, Iron Man's drones and various dischargeable weapons, and Spider-Man's webs? Do you think it's possible, just possible, that in the rush to make Sam's Cap more capable, that maybe you gave him too many powers and abilities and gizmos? Like all the powers, abilities, and gizmos?
Jesus, you sound like the fucking critical drinker. First of all, those are not Iron Man's drones. Sam has had Red Wing since the comics. Civil War. They make a whole joke about the Avengers refusing to acknowledge that gadget. You know, the literal scene you sent 9 years ago?
Name is Red Wing.
I'm still not thinking it.
He's cute. Go ahead, bet him.
Ha ha ha. While you guys are cracking wise, has anyone checked on Cap?
The suit being from Wakanda is from the comics, so it's a normal part of his kit, meaning he should have had Wakandan tech way earlier than this. Those various dischargeable weapons were also present in Civil War, and surprise, surprise, we have video footage of you praising those back then too.
I also agree this is cool, but why didn't he do something like this at the very beginning?
And what the hell do you mean he's got Cap's shield? He is Captain America, meaning that's his shield. If you want to argue that it belonged to someone else prior to that, then you need to argue that it's Stark's shield, not Steve's. Remember?
That shield doesn't belong to you. My father made that shield.
And finally, calling this winch that he, surprise, surprise, literally used against Spider-Man in Civil War, Spider-Man's webs, is a level of stupidity that I don't think I can handle right now. Trying to call Sam Wilson overpowered makes no sense, given he's had most of this tech since his debut. Steve was pulling helicopters out of the sky, and you're mad this guy has gadgets? He's an Avenger, for fuck's sake. They don't hand that title out to weaklings and nobodies.
I should have took the serum. Like Steve, like you.
Wait, that was a option? Yeah, you should have. At least if you intended to be a superhero.
Didn't you just go on a tirade about him having too many abilities? Besides, who says you can't be a superhero without superpowers? Have you heard of Batman?
Because I wasn't. Say what you need to say.
Say what you need to say. Say what you need to say.
Jeremy sings in a video cliche.
I have a campaign fundraiser.
Bucky is running for office. Bucky, of all the people in the MCU, is running for office. First of all, it makes no sense that the character would want to do this. He's mopey and quiet and unemotional. Second of all, who is going to vote for a guy for whom there is tons of footage of him creating carnage and injury and death?
Trump supporters?
Thanks, Bob. I love you, buddy.
Whoa, when did Bucky start tossing out the I love yous? I feel like I missed a lot by not watching whatever that Falcon and the Winter Soldier show was called. But I'm all for bros expressing their love for each other.
I don't know, man. Fighting a universal threat in Thanos tends to bring men together. I mean, we bond over being in the same Call of Duty lobby. Once.
Somehow Stearns is right here, right where a dude who was working with Sam was at, right at this moment. Just to stop this transmission about Ross's pills containing gamma radiation. Tell me he's omniscient if you want, but we were told at the outset that he was capable of math equations no computer could do. That doesn't make him a fucking god. Doesn't mean he can see the fucking future. This movie uses the vaguest explanations to cover the widest and most undescribed superpower activity, and it owes me an apology for it.
What part of he knows what is likely to happen aren't you getting? If Bruce's gamma radiation gave him infinite strength, it doing the probability equivalent for Sam's brain should be self-explanatory.
You would never keep the Oval Office this dark unless you were a shady-ass motherfucker.
I don't know. It's kind of bright right now.
I'm sorry, I should have called after the attack at the White House.
You think? If you were going to call ever, that was the proper time.
I know, right? Betty is so ridiculous. But not quite as ridiculous as that laugh.
Since when were they red?
Knowing who they are in this situation, but stopping to ask this question instead of running for your life.
Well, given that at this point there are two Hulks that are publicly heroes, her reaction isn't all that unbelievable. Unless you're saying that being red is a bad thing, in which case, Crips.
I do understand that most of the superheroes in this world are either dead, retired, or worried about being McCarthy'd, but no one came to help Sam in this fight.
Who could have possibly come to help at this very moment? The easy answer is Bruce, but as far as we know, Bruce is in Mexico and this is DC. It would take him at least some time to get there. Jennifer could also help here, but she's in California. Thor is off-world with love, Wanda is allegedly dead, Strange is in the Dark Dimension, Sam isn't in communication with Spider-Man after the spell, and Captain Marvel is in space. Who would you have liked for him to phone, Jeremy?
But I don't think you want to do that.
Trying to reason with a Hulk.
That is literally one of the main ways to defeat a Hulk. Holy lack of comic book knowledge, Batman.
Come on, Mr. Bradley. We got a little paperwork to fill out.
God damn, hasn't this man been through enough?
How are your digs?
I don't think a former president would be kept in a cell like this no matter his crimes.
You'd be right if that former president couldn't transform into an invincible rage monster with infinite strength.
Japan decided to uphold the treaty, by the way.
You get a happy ending, and you get a happy ending, and you get a happy ending.
I can't tell if that's Oprah or Deshaun Watson. So, FB, what did you think about this movie? I don't know. It was pretty good, I guess. A lot of not-so-hidden messages, though. How do you mean? Well, it was released during Black History Month, for one. And for two, it sort of made fun of us. Made fun of us.
Made fun of who? I'd love to try out my new technique on them.
Us as in society. Come on, you're telling me you missed this movie having a president with a checkered past, a short temper, he's old as fuck, had an assassination attempt, and he turns red? Don't tell me y'all thought that shit was a coincidence. I smell what you're cooking. One problem with your theory, though. I'm listening. Ross ended up going to jail for his crimes. Touché.